Hi guys.
Wow. How you
So
doing?
good. So Vicky,
Good
how
morning, good
interesting.
afternoon,
Mhm.
good
So we don't
evening.
really know what the book is about.
Oh, well, I think you pretty much covered a lot of it. And then Vicky told me she only looks at books with pictures, and I don't think there are any pictures in that book. So I think that's an
That
issue.
is not
Um,
true.
that's she told me. She said, Steve, I only look at picture books. And I'm like, I understand. So I
I
sent
feel
her
like
all my
she
old
told me
cat
she
mail.
read the book and then she kind of like threw it out.
That's what she said. I read the book and I gave it to somebody. I was like, what the heck? But it was fascinating to hear this. I've only hired in my whole career one hot chick. And after that, never again because she was an idiot. All the guys in my office were like, she's hot, we should hire her. She went to Harvard, big deal. And all my friends from Harvard are idiots. So it stood to reason. But anyway, she literally was like, she walked in and everybody drooled. And I was like, all right, you guys want, we'll hire her. 2 weeks, gone. And the next person we hired was, shall we say, a little chubby, not as attractive, but smart as a whip. And I was so
Mhm.
at that, and I did this in my young 20s. So I was like, going forward, we're only going to hire qualified people. I don't care what you look like. And so I've been fortunate that I got that when I was in my, young to mid 20s. And then as I went forward, I was like, I don't care. Like they'll be like, oh, they won't fit. I'm like, why won't they fit? Well, I don't care. And they
What
look at me
business,
like, well,
Steven?
yeah, investment banking. And then we've had other businesses over the years around the world. And I'm just like, you hire the qualified person. I don't
Mhm.
care how they dress. I don't care how they eat. You hire the person that's going
Well,
to
so
make sure that they
here's
give you
my question.
200%.
If there's two candidates
Hmm.
who are both qualified and one
Yeah,
is thinner and one is not, then
don't care.
okay.
No,
There's always one. There's always going to be
it's
one
about
that's more
personality.
right, personality. And
Mhm.
I don't interview like a normal person. I literally tell you point blank in the interview. When I interview you, Lincoln did nothing for you in 1864. We own you. You will work until the job is done. If you don't like that, don't work here. Two, everybody swears. If you're offended by the F word, the C word, any other word, and words that are made up, you don't want to work here. And three, you live and die by each other. That's it. That's how we interview. That is to this day the same. I give the same speech. I've given it now for 7,000 years. And Lincoln was alive back then. We had foresight. But if we give the same speech, and people that say yes, there are two. Like if you two are the two most, or three of you the most qualified, right? Two girls and a guy, and we give you that speech. Two of you will tell me no because you can't work on that because you're sensitive. Get the f out,
I would say no.
right? So you and work well for us.
I don't believe in living and dying by your job. I think life
Well, we
balance
use
is
that as an example. We don't really mean that, but see, the fact that you took, we wouldn't want you because that
yeah,
means you're
I
not
wouldn't
thinking out
want
the
to work
box,
with you
right? Yeah, yeah,
because
you wouldn't work with us,
there are
which is
other
and right,
now
and we're
maybe if
okay with
I'm
that.
20 years old and I don't have a family but yeah, I'm
Right.
not gonna
But
you
see,
have to balance it.
right, but we're okay with that because I don't. I'm looking for a certain type of mentality, right?
Hmm.
I'm looking for something very specific when we hire. So I say that, and the people that are like offended or I can't, I'm like, okay, you didn't hurt my feelings. And so the one or two that say yes are the ones we take. But if everyone's equally qualified, then that's ultimately the speech we have to give because we have to really see then who has a thick skin to be able to work global. Our clientele is global for what we
Hmm.
do now. You know, you can't like be offended. You can't do that. You literally just have to be like different words in different countries have different meanings, and they'll say stuff. I told the story, I think, once when I lived in Australia, they use the C word like we say hello. And I was sitting in the meeting the first time, and the guy's like, that guy's this, that guy. I'm like, holy shit, seriously? He goes, Steve, that guy. And my buddy goes, they use that like you guys use the F word as a comma. I'm like, oh, okay. So we were doing it. We came back to New York to do a deal with them. And I had to tell him, this is not Australia. You cannot say that in this meeting. I said, because this guy will have a heart attack. You can say the F word, not the C word. So it's really just, I kind of like weed them out because I really don't want someone to come in and then 2 or 3 weeks later go, oh, this isn't for me, or, I don't. So it's really, that's how we weed them
So
out.
that's you, Steven.
Yeah.
There's a lot of men who hire who
Hot
don't think
chicks.
the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. because
So-
they're stupid.
I think
They think they're going to get laid, and that's not how it works.
Or
Yeah.
it's just,
I mean,
I
you
mean,
might
it's-
get laid, but
it's-
the job's not going to get done.
Right. Well, it's a
Yeah.
50-50.
It-
No.
it's disturbing, isn't it? Because I mean, just to hear you ladies talking about it, it's quite disturbing. I mean, there's a thing this morning I was listening to about McDonald's in the UK. And McDonald's in UK has a lot of franchises, so that means that if you buy a hamburger in the north or in the south of the UK, it tastes the same, quality's the same, the fries are the same. But it would appear that the management is not the same because they have a big issue at the moment of sexual harassment, a lot of racism, a lot of stuff happening, people who are disabled, etc., etc. So there's all this stuff is going on, and I'm listening to all this, and I'm thinking, I'm just, I mean, how do you avoid it? Do you want to work for these sort of companies? I mean, the moment that this sort of stuff happens, you should just put your coat on and leave,
mm-hmm.
because basically they don't deserve you
Right.
because you're better.
Right.
However, if I may, to the lady's point of earlier, because I was listening,
Sort of.
but all right, stop. All right, I was doing other things. No, of course I was listening. But if you need a job, right, whether it's sexual harassment, whether bullying, whether whatever, but if you need a job, you need a job,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you have to pay a bill, or you have to support your children, or you have to do that, whatever it is. You need a job. I understand, but I understand that, but not everybody has the financial wherewithal or the education to be able to say, you know what, screw you, I can go do this, or they have the gumption to start a company, or so there's all these, if you will, OBTWs. Oh, by the way, so I agree with everything you're saying. It's just that, unfortunately, and I keep going back to this book, The World, that I'm almost done with, but since day one, we've been like this.
Mm-hmm.
There's been, if you will, sexual harassment. There's been this. There's been nothing. We as a society have not developed into anything, right? It's just more prevalent now because of Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, whatever, right? Because the girls tell stories now. My boss tried this, or my boss. I think it's different. Back in the day, it was kept quiet. People didn't care. They wrote you a check, or it was sort of like, I've read articles in The Economist when they talked about this. Girls in the 40s, 50s, and 60s would say their boss sexually harassed them, and people are like, no, they didn't. You misunderstood. And today, like, I'm afraid to tell anybody they look good, male or female. I don't, you know what I mean? I'm afraid, like we used to, we still do in New York. We all hug it out. Like, we all see each other, we give big hugs. But nowhere else in the world will I do that. Unless I know you for 30 years, then I'll give you. But if not, it's like I shake your hand and we're good. Back then, it didn't mean anything to us. We're just giving you a hug. We're happy to see you. I haven't seen you in 3 months or 6 months, right? Now, everything you do is you touch. I didn't want you to touch it. Then, it's not that world anymore. So it's very difficult, David. I think it is what it is.
But the other extreme, I was watching this film clip of Joe Biden trying to kiss this girl, this little baby girl. Have you seen that?
No,
that's all over the news here in Europe. He's sort of up behind her going, oh, the baby, this toddler, is absolutely crapping herself, thinking, well, what are you doing that for? Then he tries to kiss her, and the baby the toddler just freaks out. So it's a people don't know, but right. At the end of the day, put your coat on and go,
mm-hmm.
because you're worth more than that, regardless of how much or how little money you have in your pocket.
So
but why would you go and prostitute yourself? Because that's basically it. You're just accepting the circumstances just for the money.
Yeah. Well, to what Stephen said, some people, they have no choice, they feel like they have no choice, that they have to stick with it. But I think with social
everybody
media,
has a choice.
With social
everybody
media,
has a choice.
Women, especially in all forms of life, can now go to social media and be like, hey, this happened to me, and blah, blah, blah. And so And they can start a whole career becoming an influencer from that experience, from being told like you have to put up with this at this job and this is how you have to look. It's like, no, I want to start a post on social media and talk about that and become an influencer and become successful. And I know a lot of women who have.
Yeah. And then they go to OnlyFans and take nude pictures and make millions of dollars. And it works out well for them because, of course, it didn't work. They weren't getting millions of dollars to be harassed. So, it's 50-50. And I say that tongue in cheek, but I've seen that where I've seen an article where like I was sexually, and I got mad. I went to OnlyFans. I'm like, seriously? So some of it.
It's in their control.
I understand that.
So it's that what they choose to do and that's what put on them.
I mean, in this case, it's literally that they don't take the coat and put it on. They take the coat, put it on, and then take it off again and do something else. But yeah, I mean, why not?
Are you going to sing a Joe Crocker song?
No, I'm not. Unfortunately for you all, no. But I mean, it's the same thing as here in Holland. We have to have people that are sex workers, and they're all self-employed. They have a Chamber of Commerce number, they have a VAT number, and they have to do their accounts, and that's wonderful. You're not going to stop it. Nobody, a lot of people don't want to see it stop for whatever reason, but at least a lot of the women involved in it have chosen to do it, and they have more control over it. And just to let things roll over you because that's always how it's been, and I'm not going to get a job somewhere else. The next interview you go to, you say, look, they asked you, why have you come for this job? You said, well, because the last time I had the last job, the guy just couldn't keep his hands to himself or his zipper open or his zipper closed. And that's the reason why I want to come and work for you guys. That's that sort of person say, okay, well, you come and work here because this is a safe environment. And thank you very much for sharing it with us.
I think everyone deserves to be able to show up at work and feel safe.
Yeah.
Yes.
And even if it means that men and women need to make some adjustments to their behaviors that they're a little uncomfortable with and it feels a little unnatural. I'm a very physically affectionate person, right? Like I like to hug. I'll put my hand on your arm or your knee if we're sitting there when I'm talking, and I'll lean in. That's just who I am as a person. And I, much like Stephen, I've really had to learn to dial that back, because at the end of the day, I'm doing that to make people feel comfortable and connect. And if I'm causing the opposite reaction in someone, then it doesn't make sense. Yeah. And so it's, I think.
Well, I suggest you all go and look up the Joe Biden and the
baby.
It's not a baby, it's a toddler. It's a toddler. But this is on some campaign thing he's been doing. It's cringy, because on the one side you understand what he wants to do.
I doubt he's trying to be creepy, but it just probably
but he comes across as being like mega creepy, and if that's the sort of thing that should be in training, every training program in every company. Look, a genuine guy, he wants to just show that he's okay and be affectionate towards other people and their children, and look what it looks like outside.
That's creepy uncle.
But remember what politics used to be. And Joe Biden, granted he's 7,000 years old, kissing babies and shaking hands is what they would tell you to go do, right? What are you going to do if you're going to run, whether it's the city mayor, kiss babies and shake it. So now we are
kiss my baby, please.
That's right. We're in a different society where you don't even shake hands. You don't kiss babies. You give a speech and you get the hell out. And that's it. And that's
it's the same with the same thing with the Dalai Lama and the young boy, because he stuck his tongue out. It's almost like a French kiss, which in some cultures is a real sign of affection. But that has been interpreted by the rest of the world as being, now the Dalai Lama is a dirty old man.
Well, we know that. I mean, we hung out the other night at a strip club. He's a great guy, smoking cigars and drinking scotch. He's my favorite. He keeps everybody so chill.
Yeah. So it's and like I say, and that's what I think. What a lot of the issues is here, that there is a whole generation of people who have no idea how to have social intercourse, physical social intercourse with people, and it ends up that they and a lot of them misuse the fact that other people don't know how to receive that physical social intercourse. Yeah, and yeah, okay. Oh well, I just put my hand on her ass. Oh, she liked it. She was okay with it.
Right.
You know.
I love
Was
that
she?
parents now, I think a thing parents are doing now is they're teaching their children body autonomy, to where, you know, you don't have to hug and kiss your you know, aunt that smells like cigarette smoke, you know, that you don't like you don't have to give up your body that way if you don't want to in that moment. And I think that's pretty important, because as women, at least for me, I was always taught that you don't want to offend anybody. If somebody wants to give you a hug or a kiss, you don't want it. You're worried about like offending the other person, and you totally disregard your own wants and needs. And I think I like that, actually.
I think that's how it should be.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and ladies, as much as I would
Seems
like
like
to
a
go on
no-brainer,
with
but-
this, yeah,
Go ahead.
as much as I think we should go on with this topic, unfortunately, I have to do another show in 7 minutes.
Yeah,
So
you both have to leave.
Yeah.
so
Then
you
I
have to go and you have to go. But
I
this
gotta
is
jump
we
out.
should bring this. We should have this topic again. I think so, and I think we should do it. Well, I know Noosh wants to come on from Noosh's Bits. You should probably do it with her, because I'm sure she would have a lot to say. I think it'd be very cool. So, thank you, and I love social intercoursing. It was always good to see all of you, and we will see you all next Tuesday, everybody.
see you
And
guys
don't forget to
Yeah,
subscribe. and like.
let's hope Vicky's with us as well. So so the whole crew's on. So we look forward to that.
Love it.
Take care, everyone.
Love it. See you
Thanks,
guys
guys.
later.